Good morning, folks. Hello, hello. Happy Thursday to you. Ooh, it's fresh and clean around here, isn't it? I mean, I could do that and make it not, but I think it looks good like this for the moment, though I'm a little bit overexposed, perhaps. Let's get that fixed. And let's grab our TikTok live chat. I'd like to see y'all's comments right up front and center. And let's make sure it's working. It is not, so let me fix that live chat real quick. Cassidy, welcome in. Good to see you. Hello, hello. We are just fixing the combined chat because, as always, it gives us trouble. I don't know why, though. Aaron G2911. Hello, hello. Good morning to you. I see the YouTube chat coming in. Hello, YouTube. How y'all doing today? I will be with you with my full focus in 1 minute here. I don't know why my combined chat's not working. What's up, Wolfie Chan? Good to see you. Happy Thursday to you. Aaron, how are you on this fine day? TikTok, what are we doing here? Oh, doing great, Aaron. Excited to get to stream. I'm glad you're doing well. And I apologize for the slight delay. I just updated my combined chat tool, and it is not playing nice. Alright, how's that looking? We working now? Nope, nope. Jackson May, I do play Magic the Gathering. I think that's bot chat though, YouTube. I have a suspicion from the behavior. Other name wasn't available. Good morning. How are you, buddy? My combined chat is just being very annoying. Yeah, what's up, Aaron? Hit me, man. Ask that question. Thomas, what's up, buddy? Hey, congratulations, Aaron. That's awesome, man. I'm sorry you're feeling burned out on it, though. Yeah, dude, totally it's okay to take a break. Look, if you're not writing, if you're not publishing for money and you don't have deadlines and stuff you gotta hit, there's no reason that you have to stick to any timeline. I mean, obviously momentum is good. It's never a bad thing to have momentum, but yeah, take a break and return later. Absolutely, you got that luxury. Enjoy that. You need to have it's about having fun at that point, right? You're chasing passion. You're writing because it's fun and because you enjoy it. So there's no reason to burn yourself out over it. Enjoy it. Have fun. Take some time off. It's totally good. All right. Hey, there we go. I see that combined chat is working. We got it, folks. Look at that. Troubleshooting while chatting. Let's go. Other name, you said it's a rough start to your morning. You definitely ready for some chill vibes? Man, I'm sorry to hear that, but hey, good news. You are in the right place, my friend. Let's get some nice chill vibes today. Thomas said everything's going good. You're finally introducing the big bad of the book. Ooh, that's a fun one. That's a fun scene, huh? Wolfie, I do not play Wolfie on YouTube. I don't play Roblox. I kind of missed the bus on that one. But yeah. Welcome in, Wolfie. I just got combined chat working, so now you on YouTube can talk to the TikTok crowd. So y'all enjoy. I feel like that's an important part of the stream. I want y'all to be able to talk to each other. Puppet Forces says much love from Chicago. Well, hello. Much love from Houston, spanning the north and south of the country there. Thomas, you guys have apprehension about writing your big bad. I can understand that. But then he gets what he deserves. Yeah. Fully agreed. That's how you got to play it. Aaron, you said you were worried about taking some time off. So no, yeah, Aaron. Hey, if you're writing for fun, man, this is totally up to you. You do whatever you want. Just make sure you have fun with it. Is what I would say. Also, congratulations on 38,000 words in. That's really good, dude. It's great progress. Keep it going. Cassidy, hello. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday. Y'all, Cassidy, I hope you're doing well. Let me know. Well, Thomas, you said that what your big bad does is legit evil, like real world evil stuff, and I want to make sure I do it right. I understand that. Approaching half of that battle is thank you, Aaron. You love my guest host today. we got these excellent goblins. I got to put them to use on stream. Sorry, Thomas. I was saying that half of that battle is simply approaching with the intent to be respectful of it and do it justice. And I think you're on the right track if you're thinking like that. You're going the right direction. Wolfie Chan on YouTube. Yes, thank you. You beat me to the punch. Happy Juneteenth. I'm just up the road from Galveston, which is a pretty relevant location for Juneteenth. So happy Juneteenth, everybody. Aaron, you said thanks. It's been fun for sure, and definitely the first book I've written that I actually published. Well, dude, congratulations. What's the genre? What's the genre on it? Cassidy, you said you're doing good. You're just trying to get some words down. Hey, we take that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's the noble pursuit, right? Putting in the hard day's work in the word mines. I dig it. It's going good here. We're just starting out. But I'm thinking, I'm playing with trying something new today. So let's see. I'm gonna check it out real quick. That's the wrong screen. Never mind. Not that one. So yeah, I had an idea. I'm gonna float it with y'all. You let me know what you think. And Thomas, thank you for the roses, my friend. I appreciate that. Rock on, dude. Thank you. Here, a gift for a gift. A goblin for you. I think the rules we established were don't feed it after midnight. Keep your matches locked up inside, somewhere safe, and yeah, your house will never be clean again. Oh, Aaron, okay, you posted it in Discord. Gotcha. Sometimes the usernames don't line up between Discord and TikTok. Well, frequently they don't. I don't know if yours does or not. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, I was teasing y'all how to sorry, I'm reading two chats at the same time here. Wolfie Chan, I don't know about donations on YouTube. You can do it through TikTok for sure. If you're on YouTube, there's probably a way. I'm not entirely sure. I'm learning YouTube. I'm very new to it. Something I need to look into, I suppose. But hey, thank you for being here and hanging out. That's we'll take that. That's more than enough right there. Anyway, what I was trying to say before I got distracted, I was going to try something a little new today, guys. Oh, Aaron, you got to head out to work. Hey, well, it was nice to chat with you, buddy. I hope you have a good day. Rock on. And hey, tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow's Friday. So when I see you tomorrow morning, I'll be staring down the weekend. It's going to be a good time. So I hope your Thursday goes quick. Thanks for stopping by, man. Have a good one. And good luck with the writing. Take that week off. Fight your burnout. So y'all, what I was thinking, I was hoping to have a few more of the regulars in, but I didn't ping in Discord. Let me do that real quick. See if we can't get some of the regulars come to hang out, because I want to ask a question about a new format to do, but I'd like to have some folks hanging out. Dubs on Smash says, gotta keep writing. Oh, you know it. That's always what we're doing here. Always getting those words on page, Dubs. But I got a little bit of an idea I was going to discuss with y'all. So we'll talk it through. Leisha, what's up? Welcome in. You are just here in time for what I was going to bring up. So y'all, I was thinking kind of something I wanted to do was talk with y'all about opening lines of books. I pulled up a couple books that I read here back in the day, and I was thinking about taking some suggestions from y'all, and then I wanted to read through opening lines and see, talk about them, give you my perspective on them, get your feedback on them, and see if we all can't learn a little bit more about how to do opening lines. Wolfie Chan, everyone's on TikTok. I'm primarily, I started streaming on TikTok. YouTube's kind of a secondary audience for me. But you're welcome to watch from wherever you want. And since there's combined chat on the screen, the folks on TikTok can't see what you're saying. So, all right. Well, you're heading out. Well, thanks for dropping by, Wolfie. Have a good day. Appreciate you being here. Simp1X, welcome in, my friend. Good to see ya. Cassidy Cook, you kind of like that idea? Thomas said one of the best ones is to start to Gunslinger. We can pull the Gunslinger. We can pull that up. Oh yeah. I do know that opening line, Thomas. That is a famous one. I kind of want to go. I'm saying opening lines instead of opening sentences because I kind of want to go a little deeper than that. Obviously, your first sentence is the most important. But I want to go a little bit further, a little bit deeper into it. Also, other name. Wow, okay, sorry, I missed this. Aaron Winnick and other name wasn't available. Thank you for sending the heart me, for re-upping on your stream team. I appreciate that. So we got a few more folks since I mentioned it earlier, but y'all, what I was thinking about doing today, you let me know what you think. I was thinking about grabbing some books, we got some examples here, and reading through their opening lines. Kind of giving you what I think about them, why they may be good, how they could be better. I'm not going to tell a published author how they could be better, because they probably sold more books than me. So clearly they know something I don't. But I think it could be interesting to kind of talk about opening lines and why they're good. So if you have books that you would like me to read the opening line of and have us discuss here, drop the title. I'll grab it on Amazon. We'll look at the preview and we'll read through it. Y'all let me know if that sounds fun. Cassidy seemed in favor. I think it could be a good way to do it. Just exploring the format a little bit, playing in the space, you know? Don't want to just be doing writing every day. So we're changing it up. Dubs on Smash. Thank you for the question. You said, where can I buy your book? Well, they're all here. All the book ones, at least. But you can find them all on Amazon as ebook, paperback, or audiobook. The audiobooks are also on Audible. And my newest release is this one right here, Wriggly Little Hands. It's a comedy fantasy about goblins on a road trip to save the Dark Lord. But they're not the evilest of goblins, so they actually end up doing good every chance they get to do evil, and shenanigans ensue. It's a pretty good one, in my opinion. But like I said, here's all the book ones, and you can get them on Amazon in any format you desire. Jack Ann, you said one of your favorite indie openings, the city of Jinan burned. What is that from, Jack Ann? We can throw that into the pool and give it a look-see. Walker Gibbons, welcome in. Happy Thursday, my friend. Good morning to you. You said I got big ideas and keep wanting to write, but intimidated by how long the process is. Any suggestions? Walker, I think you custom tailored that question to me, my friend. Let me pull up this book real quick that Cassidy recommended. Bert, good morning. Good to see you. Okay, we will get to that. Where was it? Walker, you said you got big ideas and you keep wanting to write, but you're intimidated by how long the process is. Ooh, Walker, do I got good news for you, my friend. Okay, so I love short stories, and I always tell folks that are getting into writing, you should start with short stories. 3 reasons. They require every aspect of a novel. They need a beginning, a middle, and an end. They need characters, conflict, resolution, all that fun stuff. Number 2, they're short. You do them in 2 to 10,000 words, or like 1 to 5 chapters, you could say. So you don't have to sit down and commit to writing an entire novel for months at a time. You can do a short story in a week. And then, number 3, there are tons of reputable, free, and prestigious short story contests to submit to, where you can get, professional authors' feedback on the short story and how you can improve. It's a perfect formula, really. You write a short story, you submit it to contests, you move on while you're waiting for judging, you write the next one, and then you submit that to contests, and you just keep this cycle going. And once you get, feedback from the contest, it might not be like a line critique, they're not going to go through every line, but just a lot of contests will give you some feedback. And if nothing else, once you start getting honorable mentions or, awards, that you're doing the right thing. I recommend this because it's basically more valuable than critical feedback on your early writing. Is simply just writing more stories. And short stories are like, if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, they're the hyperbolic time chamber of training. You're going to get in there and just grind it out and get that, 2 times experience working on short stories instead of spending time on novels. So I highly recommend that. Start there. And as a famous example, that is how George R.R. Martin got his start. He just kept writing for more and more short story contests and kept winning them, to the point that finally a publisher was like, "Dude, you got to give us a book. Let's get a book deal. Let's talk." And we all know George R.R. Martin has made a little bit of money from his writing. Yeah, Walker, definitely. I'm glad that sounds exciting to you. Give it a try. It's super exciting too because you can try different styles. Because 10,000 words is not that much. That's 5 sessions. That's 10 sessions of 1,000 words. You could do that in 2 weeks. Pretty easy, I imagine. Even a beginning author. Write at your own pace, obviously. But the point is, they're short, they're quick. You send them to contests, you try again. And you try something else creative, Good luck, my friend. But if you have further questions, please ask them here. More than happy to talk about them. That's what we do. Yeah, Aaron, I turned off the labels because they're a little bit inaccurate. We are not really writing today. There we go. There's our legally distinct Pokemon stream labels. But I had turned them off because I wanted to try something a little bit different. Walker, you're very welcome. I hope it works out for you. And thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Yeah, Aaron, we're going to try something a little new today. I'll go over it again in a moment here since we got some new folks pouring in, and then we'll get into it. But I appreciate that question, Walker. Y'all, if you are watching the stream and you got questions about writing, reading, books, publishing, all that fun stuff, drop them at any time. We'll talk about it. I love talking about that. Jake Hartman on YouTube, hello, along with Isabel Knight. Welcome, my YouTube fans. Hello. It's nice to see you. Jake, you had a very nice comment. You said Royal Road has a short story contest twice a year. This was the first year I decided to try it. It's crazy to see how many people have already read a silly little story I wrote. Dude, congratulations, Jake. That's awesome. And I fully recommend the Royal Road short story contest. That's one of the good ones. It's only twice a year, which is a little bit infrequent for someone working on short stories. Another one I would recommend, and I'm putting it in chat now. Ugh, typos everywhere. Writers and Illustrators of the Future. I'll put it in YouTube chat as well. There we go. It's a quarterly short story contest. Free to enter. All reputable short story contests will be free to enter. Don't pay to enter them. They're supposed to be free. And it's free, it's quarterly, and there are industry professional judges that judge your stories. So, yeah, definitely recommend it. Also, Jake Hartman, congratulations on entering the Royal Road Short Story Contest, and I'm glad so many folks have read it. Drop a link to it, my guy. I don't know if I can grab links out of the YouTube chat, but let's try. Drop a link if you want. I'd love to take a look at it. Leisha, you love the goblin in my pocket? Yeah, guys, it's my co-host. He's hanging out with me. He's helping me help host the stream today. There we go. We got to get him looking at the camera. His eyes tend to wander. He gets distracted by shiny objects. Impage, you said you're scared of new, Alex? Here we go, Impage, just for you. We'll put the labels back up. There we go. Isabel, you said, what did you say here? Work in progress update. I hate my work in progress. Okay, I love this work in progress, but I feel that it hates me. Isabel, you are such a writer. You said it's a mess of plot threads. I do not see how it's supposed to come together into a real book. Hey, sometimes that's how the process goes. Sometimes it's a winding path. But just stick with it. You'll get there. All right. So folks, we got Oh, Jaco Jill, you said I've created my world for my first novel. Dude, congrats, Jay. You want to tell us a little about it? Share a little about it. What's going on there? I wanna know. I wanna understand your world a little bit. Share some tantalizing details if you want. But folks, since you're here, I'm gonna try a new stream today. I have got some covers pulled up from books that I read as a kid and books that you have suggested. I want to read through their opening lines and kind of give you my take on them, what I might think about them from the perspective of an author. If that sounds fun, folks, hey, hang around. We're gonna get to it here in a minute. Millie, hello on YouTube now, or sorry, on TikTok now. Welcome in. Good to see you. Folks, I'm gonna pop into doing some of these opening lines. While I'm doing that, if you have a book that you think has a good opening lines that you'd like me to go over, let me know the title. Drop it in chat, and we will go through it. Isabel, congrats to your friend and good luck who's entering that contest. Fingers crossed for him. Alicia, we'll miss you. Have a good day at work. Hopefully we can catch you tomorrow for Fantasy Map Friday. But thank you for stopping by. We'll miss you, but have a good day at work, Alicia. Isabel, I fully agree with you. Middle grade is a wonderful genre. I don't know why so many contests exclude it. I really don't. I guess I never thought about that. Slindy, you got submissions for the opening lines. Let me grab those real quick. Got Murderbot Diaries. I'm sure TikTok loves me saying that word. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, so book 1 is called All Systems Red, I believe. We'll grab that. Millie, let me know if you have any books that you like that we could do this for. You got movies, which I see. All right, we're grabbing All Systems Red here. All right, we got a good wow. All right. We got a good start here. So let's Atlas, I don't know how to say it. I'm gonna call you At. We have the same keyboard. Hey, rock on. It's a good keyboard. I love mine. Hope you like yours. What color you have it set to? I kind of like the default purple. But there's a good range of color options. All right, folks. I think you just rejoined the live, but I was saying, rock on, man. Dig the keyboard. What color? You purple? You got it on purple? Rock on. Nice. All right, folks. Let's get into it. I've talked a little bit about it, but let's just hop on in. So, hey, we just got the Murderbot Diaries, or All Systems Red, suggested by Slendy. So let's start with that one. So there's the cover, and we're going to go to the sample and look at the opening lines. I have not read these opening lines before, so this one's entirely new to me. Oh, Nimona, Millie. Yeah. That was a good-looking film. I love the animation on it. I haven't read the book either, but I think I meant to. Thank you for reminding me. I need to go do that. All right, so Slendy, you said Murderbot, All Systems Red immediately hooked you with the opening lines. So here we go, folks. I could have become a mass murderer after I hacked my governor module, but then I realized I could access the combined feed of entertainment channels carried on the company satellites. It had been well over 35,000 hours or so since then, with still not much murdering, but probably, I don't know, a little under 35,000 hours of movies, serials, books, plays, and music consumed. As a heartless killing machine, I was a terrible failure. That is really good. That is a really good opener. As I'm going through these, I'm not going to say anybody's got a bad opener, because we're about positivity here, and I think positive critique is a lot better than tearing things apart. Also, Murderbot Diaries has sold a few more copies of books than I have. But let's talk about it. I always tell y'all you got to have an intriguing hook for your opening, right? You got to have a line that immediately gets folks. And it's a great opener, right? Yeah, I could have become a mass murderer after I hacked my governor module. That instantly makes you ask questions, right? It's an impactful, dynamic opening. It makes you ask a question, which is really important. I want to read more instantly. And then it gets funny with the juxtaposition of, I could have become a mass murderer, but then I realized I could access the combined feed of entertainment channels carried on company satellites. And then it sums it all up with, as a heartless killing machine, I was a terrible failure. That does everything, right? It's a powerful opener. It makes you ask a question. You want to know more. And then it ends with a really good joke that provides insight into the character. This is just an absolute picture-perfect opening. I love it. If I had more time to prep, or if I took more time to prep, I would be ranking these just in terms of how much we liked them. But this is high. We're gonna put this right up high on the list with. I love the concept. I could have become a mass murderer, but then I found soap operas. I love it. Very good suggestion, Slendy. Thank you. We could all learn a lot from that opening line. Isabel, you've got a suggestion for one? Let me grab that real quick. We'll pop over here for a moment as I pull it up on Amazon. You said it was called Skandar and the Unicorn Thief. Emily, hello, welcome in. Good to have you. Hey, and Dennis, welcome back, y'all. Welcome to a slightly new stream today. We're doing something a little different. Oh, dude, I love that cover. That's a cool cover. Look at the top of the K is a unicorn horn. That's clever. We got a special font for the inside flap. I love it. Yeah, so I should probably explain what we're doing here, because we got some new folks jumping in. So what we're doing is we are going through opening lines of books that I've pulled up or that y'all have suggested, and we're talking about why they work. We just started with All Systems Red, book 1 of the Murderbot Diaries, which was a heck of an opener. Really good job. So if you got a book that you think has a good opening, suggest it, and I'm going to read through it with y'all and talk about what I love about it, why I think it's a good opening, and how we could, do that in our own writing. Sloyd, yep, I got Dark Tower right here. Already been suggested, so we're going to get to that one for sure. Um, Isabel, you said your book's a bit of a ripoff of this one. Inspiration, right? We all take inspiration from everything that we do. All right, so this is a bit of a questionable. This is something I've been thinking about here, y'all. As we do this, are we going to go with prologues? Are we going to count that as opening lines, or do we jump to chapter 1? In my heart, I feel that chapter 1's where you should start, really. But theoretically, if we're looking at this from a perspective of getting people to read your writing, the prologue is the first writing that you hit in there. So what do? I feel like we go with prologue then, right? And let's see. Emily, you said please do Flynn and the Intergalactic Lunchbox. Goodness, that sounds awesome. We'll pull that one up. I love that title. All right, we got that one. I think I saw another one. Oh yeah, Dresden Files. Someone suggested Dresden Files, right? Saw that from who was that? Paul, welcome in, my friend. Millie, I do not know Hungarian. I'm sorry. I know a little bit of Greek and a little bit of Spanish and a lot of English. Paul, I just saw you. Welcome in. Someone suggested Dresden. There it is. Dennis said Dresden Files. Okay, sick. We'll grab that one too. All right, let's keep it there for a moment so we can go through these. Because I wanna go through them, and then y'all hold your suggestions, and then let me know. Once we run out of these, we'll go on to more. All right, so let's do. We'll do Skandar and the First Unicorn. I think it was called, or Stolen Unicorn. Skandar and the Unicorn Thief. There we go. All right. Let's do it. This is a new one to me. I'll let you know ahead of time if this is a new one or not to me. But I've not read this one, and based on our discussion, I think we're gonna do prologue and chapter 1. Oh, you wanted Blood Rites specifically, Dennis? We could do that. I don't know which one that is. Book 6, it looks like. Okay. Cool. Bunny O'Bones, we are talking books. In fact, we are looking at opening lines and why we like them. So I'm going to do prologue and chapter 1 for this, and we're going to have an evolving thought on how we should do this. But let's see. The cameraman heard the unicorns before he saw them. High-pitched screeching, murderous growls, the gnashing of bloody teeth. Okay, so we got to stop real quick and just talk. Already, there's something I really like here. The cameraman heard the unicorns before he saw them. That one, fine line. It's fine. But the fact that it's immediately juxtaposed with describing high-pitched screeching, murderous growls, the gnashing of bloody teeth, completely throws you for a loop, right? It's literally a 1-2 punch. The author is setting you up with, they're luring you in. Unicorns. We all know unicorns. We know what unicorns are like. We can envision them. You're wrong. That's not at all what these are like. It's totally it's like beckoning you in and then just a sucker punch to the jaw. I love that one too. That's an incredible way to start a book. Oh, look, and then it even continues. So I'll read it from the beginning. The cameraman heard the unicorns before he saw them. High-pitched screeching, murderous growls, the gnashing of bloody teeth. The cameraman smelled the unicorns before he saw them. Rancid breath, rotting flesh, the stench of immortal death. The cameraman felt the unicorns before he saw them, too. Somewhere deep in his bones, their putrid hooves thundered, and the panic began to rise, until every nerve, every cell, told him to run. But he had a job to do. I love that. That's really good. I'm not going to read the whole prologue. We're just doing the opening lines, but that's a really solid opener there. Nice. I like that a lot. And let's do the chapter 1 as well. Yeah, this is good. The author is really playing with us here. So chapter 1. Skandar Smith stared at the unicorn poster opposite his bed. Immediately, right, juxtaposing that with the prologue goes, "We all know unicorns. These are not those kind of unicorns." And then takes you into chapter 1 and goes, "But this kid thinks about those unicorns like that." Like, it takes you right back to the default, like, unicorn poster on a bedroom wall, right? I love it. Skandar Smith stared at the unicorn poster opposite his bed. It was light enough outside now to see the unicorn's wings outstretched mid-flight, shining silver armor covering most of his body, exposing only his wild red eyes, an enormous jaw, and a sharp gray horn. New Age Frost had been Skandar's favorite unicorn ever since his rider, Aspen McGrath, had qualified for the Chaos Cup 3 years ago. So, the good stuff. It's doing really good stuff right off the bat here. I think the prologue is the stronger opening, and then the chapter is introducing us to character and then starting a little bit of subtle world building by like mentioning this is clearly a universe where unicorns are known to exist. It sounds like they're almost even like treated in a competing aspect. I don't know, some sort of unicorn Olympics. But this is a great opener. Huge fan of the opening lines for, let's see it, Skandar and the Unicorn Thief. I dig it, y'all. If anybody's don't let people be disparaging middle grade. It is a good genre with very good writing and good books. Yeah, right, Slendy. The prologue made me want to read it. The cover's great, and the prologue had me laughing and surprised right off the bat. I dig it. I think that's hard. Do I like it more than All Systems Red? That's a good question there. Oh no, Paul. There's no such thing as too popular. We will put Hitchhikers on this list for sure. That's one that I love. I just want the regular one. There we go. Read sample. All right, we'll get to that one. Okay, that's really small font. Squint to read that one, but we'll get there. All right, so we've done All Systems Red from the Murderbot Diaries. Really liked that one. Skandar and the Unicorn Thief, very surprised. That was a good one. And yeah, Laura, you're so right. This is a great way to beef up a 2B red list, and I'm kind of afraid because my TBR does not need to be beefed up anymore. Not in the slightest. Jake Hartman on YouTube. All right, hold please. I'm going to start taking notes over here. Jake Hartman, you said Empire of Silence, the Sun Eater. I've heard a lot about this book. I've not had a chance to read it, but I'm going to record it, and we will do that one as well. But first, I pulled up a couple ahead of time. We have a classic Terry Pratchett here, which in hindsight, the other two we've read are kind of blowing it away. So I kind of y'all suggesting better ones for sure. But let's do a Terry Pratchett. Let's do a Terry Pratchett in here because there's some interesting. I pre-read this one since I had pulled it up ahead of time, and I got some thoughts about it. This is another one where there's a little bit of like pretext. Now Pratchett at this point in time was very famous, so he got to do whatever he wanted. He could definitely put text in front of the actual chapter starting, and I think actually this one requires reading both to really get the opening lines. They play off each other, so I think you have to categorize this little creation story in order to understand what's going on in the first chapter. So here's his creation story at the beginning. The first thing Tack did, he wrote himself. The second thing Tack did, he wrote the laws. The third thing Tack did, he wrote the world. The fourth thing Tack did, he wrote a cave. The fifth thing Tack did, he wrote a geode, an egg of stone. And in the twilight of the mouth of the cave, the geode hatched, and the brothers were born. The first brother walked towards the light, and stood under the open sky. Thus he became too tall. He was the first man. He found no laws, and he was enlightened. The second brother walked towards the darkness, and stood under a roof of stone. Thus he achieved the correct height. He was the first dwarf. He found the laws Tack had written, and he was endarkened. But some of the living spirit of Tak was trapped in the broken stone egg, and it became the first troll, wandering the world unbidden and unwanted, without soul or purpose, learning or understanding. Fearful of light and darkness, it shambles forever in twilight, knowing nothing, learning nothing, creating nothing, being nothing. So a little creation story there, right? But then Terry immediately throws you a curveball with who this is attributed to. It says, from Good Tak Gar, the things Tak wrote, translated by Professor W.W.W. Wildblood, Ankh-Morpork University, Unseen University Press, Ankh-Morpork $8. In the original, the last paragraph of quoted text appears to have been added by a much later hand. So I love this for two reasons. It's a little bit long for my taste. Far be it from me to criticize Terry Pratchett. But he creates this creation myth, right? And then immediately inserts this like really mean line about trolls, knowing nothing, learning nothing, creating nothing, being nothing, right? And then in the attribution says it was added by a later hand. It's not part of the original myth, right? There's a commentary there about religion, I'm sure. But that's really interesting. And so once you've read that, I think it's a very interesting start. You go to the first chapter, and it immediately sets up the whole crux of the whole story. And it just says, thud. That was the sound the heavy club made as it connected with the head. The body jerked and slumped back. And it was done. Unheard, unseen, the perfect end, a perfect solution, a perfect story. But, as the dwarves say, where there is trouble, you will always find a troll. The troll saw. So, like, the creation myth at the top set up dwarves don't like trolls, right? Then we get, apparently, we don't have full information, a troll murdering a dwarf in the beginning little passage. It sets up the whole crux of the story right there. It is a story about alleged murder of an important dwarf by a troll. And then it goes on. I love that it plays with, it says, the perfect end, a perfect solution, a perfect story. And then when you jump down to the opening with the main character, it started out as a perfect day. It would soon enough be an imperfect one, he knew, but just for these few minutes, it was possible to pretend that it wouldn't. So just a little bit of wordplay from Terry with the perfect end, perfect solution, perfect story, followed by, it started out as a perfect day, though it would soon enough be an imperfect one. I don't think that's Terry's best opening. It's not Pratchett's best opening, but it's still a good one. I think there's some creative stuff happening there. Yes, Lindy, this is Thud, and Faye Jin, welcome in. This is Thud by Terry Pratchett. Don't forget the exclamation mark. Thud. So I think, honestly, of what we've seen so far, that's going to be, like, lower for me, y'all. I was really impressed with All Systems Red and Skandar and the Unicorn Thief. So sorry, Sir Terry, I apologize, my friend, but I really liked the others better. All right, so let's grab another user-submitted one. Someone was asking for Finn and the Intergalactic Lunchbox. Who suggested this? Let me know in chat. Emily, that was yours? All right, so it looks like it's middle grade, again, from the art, I'm thinking. So let's, I love the unicorn art on the lunchbox. Can you, right there? That's really cute. That's very funny. All right, so let's give this one a look. Cool inside cover font again. Yeah, it's actually the same, I think it's the same art from right here, just in black and white. All right, now, this is middle grade, so I'm sure it's fine, but as I read these, I am trusting y'all to not submit something absolutely heinous for me to read on stream by accident. Also, y'all, I appreciate all the Terry Pratchett love in the chat. Paul, yeah, this is a really dangerous stream concept because it just adds so much to the TBR pile. It's dangerous. Yeah, I do not have a solution for it. All right, so let's read this one from Finn and the Intergalactic Lunchbox. Well, this got exciting pretty quick, Dax Dargon said to her robot partner, High Beam. They were crouched behind a dumpster with shock blasts and sonic grenades exploding in the dead-end alley around them. Every kapow scrambled High Beam's digital face. Each time it returned to normal, his frown was bigger. Never a dull moment with you, Dax, the robot grumbled as a sonic grenade sailed overhead and crashed into the building behind them. Concrete sprayed into the air. Dax pulled her bandana over her mouth and nose and waited for the dust to settle. It was tragic what the plague was doing to her city. Her dad used to bring her to this shop in the street markets when she was little. Now it was a war zone. Okay, so interesting. This one goes for an action opening. Just dropping you right into the middle of the action. Openings like this they're relying on flash to catch your attention, which is not a bad thing. It is not my personal preference, but I love the character names here. Specifically, the robot being called High Beam. It's a really good name for a robot. And it makes me wonder about them, which is a very important thing to do in openings. You need to make your reader ask questions and wonder a little bit about what they're doing. If you get the reader to ask a question, they're often going to stick around to know more. So I think this is one of my. I think this is right there with Thud in terms of it doesn't catch me as quickly as I want. Yeah, Dennis, you said you're a sucker for a good in media res. Absolutely. But yeah, it's an action opening. I think this appeals to certain readers more than it does me. I'm more of a character opening. I really like to see character personality right off the bat. But there's nothing wrong with an action opening by any means. Plus, I think they did a good job of characterizing a few things. You know, the shock blasts and sonic grenades. I can kind of imagine what those look like from their name alone, which is always a good thing. And then it gets to asking a question down here of, it was tragic what the plague was doing to her city. Her dad used to bring her here to shop in the street markets when she was little. Now it was a war zone. So yeah, it makes you ask little questions that you want an answer to. So very good. Thank you for suggesting that one. Emily, hold further suggestions if you want to write them down. I will do them, but I want to make sure I get one from at least one from everybody else first, just to make sure that people get theirs in. All right, now one that I'm excited to do, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I think, Paul, did you suggest this? Who suggested this one? Let me know. This is one I have read before. I'm obviously... Hey, it kind of fits with Finn and the Intergalactic Lunchbox, right? I'm writing yours down, Sloyd, because you hadn't suggested one yet. This kind of fits thematically with Finn and the Intergalactic Lunchbox. I have read this one before. I am a huge Douglas Adams fan. Very formative for me in my writing, my early years that led to being a writer. God, the font is small on this, y'all. You have to excuse me as I lean forward and peer at this one. I do know this opening, though, so I love this one. Far out in the uncharted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the Western Spiral Arm Galaxy lies a small, unregarded yellow sun. Orbiting this at a distance of roughly 98 million miles is an utterly insignificant little blue-green planet whose ape-descended life forms are so amazingly primitive that they still think digital watches are a pretty neat idea. This is packed with so much right off the bat. Like, I think these opening 2 paragraphs, and it's really an opening like 3 sentences. 2 sentences. It is the second sentence is long, but this is an opening 2 sentences that tells you what to expect for like the rest of the whole series, and I love that. That's such a powerful opening. Oh, Jack Ann, I'll write it down. Yes, my boss is the devil. I did see that. Sorry. There we go. Got it. No, I love this. Like literally right off the bat, far out in the uncharted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the Western Spiral Arm of the Galaxy. That's like a funny line, right? But it tells you so much about the story immediately. I think that's really clever. Calling it the unfashionable end of the Western Spiral Galaxy, Western Spiral Arm of the Galaxy, it immediately draws you in. Like, you don't know anything about this universe, but from that line alone, you know that there are other people, other aliens in this galaxy, and that the Western Spiral Arm of the galaxy where we are is like an unfashionable backwater, right? It immediately establishes that we are unimportant in a comical way, and that the other aliens out there think like more highly of themselves than Earth. Followed up with the whole concept of filled with whose ape-descended life forms are so amazingly primitive they still think digital watches are a pretty neat idea. Yeah, as Slindy put it, I love that, Slindy. Adams has us immediately established as the Florida of the universe. I love it. And then just, like, it has all, it's such a, this is a wonderful sentence. Like, I'm going to read it again and I'm going to tell you why I love it. Orbiting this at a distance of roughly 98 million miles is an utterly insignificant little blue-green planet whose ape-descended life forms are so amazingly primitive that they still think digital watches are a pretty neat idea. That's a long sentence, right? It's a lot of words. But it's building you up. It's intentional. That is building you up for the punchline of think digital watches are a pretty neat idea. It's a great sentence. It's a really good example of how to use a long sentence to tell a joke, where you build up and you lead folks on with like all these details, interesting point, and then you hit them with a really abrupt little pivot right at the end of it. It brings it all home in a great way. There is a specific part of this section. Let me grab it. Here we go. This is what sticks in my head after all these years as like the most brilliant part of this opening. And I'm gonna add a word in here because I'm skipping ahead, so it won't make sense. But many people were increasingly of the opinion that they'd all made a big mistake in coming down from the trees in the first place. And some said that even the trees had been a bad move, and that no one should have ever left the oceans. That just sticks in my head after 2 decades since I first read this book. I love that line. Yeah, that's the best one, right, Paul? Many were increasingly of the opinion they'd all made a big mistake in coming down from the trees in the first place. It's just great. Like, this, there is no plot in this opening. Absolutely no plot, but it's full of jokes and it's full of insight, kind of Adam's patented tangents, so you know what to expect from the whole rest of the book just from the opening lines. If you're going to do a comedy opener, this is a great way to do it. Highly recommend this if you haven't read it. Okay, so let's get to one that y'all suggested. I think, was it Jake Hartman? No, you suggested, Jake, you suggested Sunless Empire? Empire Silence, the Sun Eater. So we'll do that one next. Who was it that suggested Jim Butcher with Blood Rights? Was that Sloyd, maybe? Oh, it was Dennis? Dennis, okay. Alright, so we're going to do Jim Butcher. I've only read book 1 of the Dresden Files, but they are obviously very popular. I quite enjoyed book 1, but this is book 6, so you said this one has a particularly good opener, Dennis? Paul, you have Don't Panic tattooed on your arm because of Hitchhikers? Man, that's a good one. I don't really want a lot of tattoos, but I don't really want any tattoos, but through stream, I think that Don't Panic would be a great one, and then my my little Whooper guy that I'm obsessed with from Pokemon Gold. Landon, welcome in. Good to see you. Yeah, so we are looking at book openers today, looking at the opening lines and talking about why we think they're good, and just kind of breaking down what the author has done in them. I think going back, my favorite one so far, man, it's a really a hard tie here, but I was really impressed with All Systems Red from the Murderbot Diaries, with this like literally 1-2 punch right off the bat of I could have become a mass murderer after I hacked my governor module, but then I realized I could access the combined feed of entertainment channels carried on the company satellites. It's just such a great little 1-2, right? With the whole concept of like, I could have become a mass murderer, but then I discovered soap operas. I just love that. And then a close second right now is Skandar and the Unicorn Thief, middle grade book, bringing the heat. Though props to Skandar. Anyway, we were going to do Blood Rights by Jim Butcher, book 6 of the Dresden Files. Dennis, you said, yeah, this one's opening is good, especially when you consider Dresden's favorite spell, Fireball. I think you mean everybody's favorite spell, right? All right, so let's give it a look. Now you gotta think here, folks. This is interesting. It looks like it's cutting it off. That's unfortunate. Yeah, it's not. It's missing. It's starting midway through the opener. Let's see if we can grab another copy of it that might have it. We can try this one. maybe this one. All right, let's give those a try real quick. No, this one doesn't have a preview. Although, is this where it is? No, see, it's cut off here too. It's starting mid-sentence. That's really annoying. That's unfortunate. Jake, if you want to switch it, I can switch it. Dennis, I'm so sorry. We're going to take another look real quick. Jake, if you want to switch out your title, we can do it. Ubik by Philip K. Dick. All right, we'll put that there. Let's see if we can get a version of Blood Rights that has it in there. We need paperback. This one doesn't even have a preview. Oof. How can we do this? It's the fact that it was consistent across multiple formats is a shame. Dennis, I am very sorry. If you can find one that has the opening complete. Yeah, Paul, I don't want to use that trick though, because I don't want to show off ways to pirate books, you know. I don't know if that is necessarily pirating, but prefer to view them on their store where they're for sale. Give the authors a little bit of love. Not that any of these authors really need it. I'm sure they all sell very well. But Dennis, if you can find one where the opening is intact, let me know and we'll go through it. All right, so y'all, I'm gonna I think Dark Tower, was this one Slendy? Slendy, did you suggest Dark Tower? Ah, gotcha, Paul. You use it kind of this same way. Yeah, I like the sample. I think it's really a good marketing tool. Who suggested Dark Tower? It was someone like a while ago. Maybe it was Sloyd? I feel like it was Sloyd or Slendy, and I often replace y'all's names accidentally in my head. Sloyd? Okay, it was Sloyd. You got me again. All right, let's do The Gunslinger by Stephen King. I mean, it's Stephen King, right? But this is his foray into... I don't know if I'd call it... I think it's like kind of fantasy. It's kind of dystopian. I've never read it, but that's my understanding. AJ, welcome in, my friend. I just put your book plate in the mail a couple days ago, so watch your mailbox. That should be arriving soon. Been meaning to say that, but what we're doing today, we're trying something a little new. We are looking at our favorite books that have good openings, and we're reading through the openings and then talking about why they're good. Also, Dennis, great job finding that. You said Google Blood Rights opening. Jim Butcher has it on his site. Haha, thank you, Dennis. Very good. Okay, it is a good opening. All right, we'll come back and do that one after Dark Tower, or Gunslinger. So let's go with Gunslinger. I mean, Stephen King, obviously. He sold a book or two in his day. I've never read this one, so let's see. I've never read any Stephen King, actually. So I guess this will be my first time reading Stephen King. Obviously, the opening line for this is infamous. I'm very aware of it. It is highly praised. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. It's such an evocative line, right? I remember how I said that opening lines should make the readers ask questions. This does that. 2 questions, maybe 3, depending on how much you care about setting. But the man in black fled across the desert. Who's the man in black? Why is he fleeing? Followed up by, and the gunslinger followed. Okay, that kind of answers question 2. He's fleeing because he's being pursued, but it introduces another question. Who is the gunslinger, right? And then I really care about setting, so I often ask, why the desert? What is the desert? What's going on here? That's a really powerful opening line. Now, I'm going to trip over this word. I've read ahead a little bit. The desert was the apotheosis? Apotheosis?
Apotheosis.
Apotheosis. All right. The desert was the apotheosis of all deserts. huge, standing to the sky for what looked like eternity in all directions. It was white and blinding and waterless and without features save for the faint, cloudy haze of the mountains, which sketched themselves on the horizon, and the devil grass which brought sweet dreams, nightmares, death. So Stephen King. I love that. Bold choice to go right into setting next, but it's a really interesting description of the setting, right? Oh, Jack Ann, the opening reminds you of the writing exercises we did for the magic card. Yeah, I could see that. I guess right into a description of a desert. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I'm talking about what I like, and I'm kind of breaking these down. Personally, I am fundamentally opposed to using the word apotheosis right there off the bat, because even if you saw me, I trip up on it. People will know that word. A lot of readers won't know that word. I wouldn't introduce that so early. That being said, Stephen King has sold a few more books than me. Maybe we listen to Stephen King's advice more than mine. That's just my personal preference. I would avoid a big word like that. Everything else, though, very good. And this is about the kind of reader that I am, what catches my attention. But I'm really interested in this devil grass that he mentioned. The devil grass, which brought sweet dreams, nightmares, death. That's really interesting to me. I want to know more about that. So I think that's a good job of introducing two characters. Don't learn a lot about them, but it makes us ask questions about them. Gives us a setting, and then if you go a bit further, it looks like it continues with the characters. So that's a pretty picture-perfect opening, which I'd expect nothing less from Stephen King. I saw the suggestion for Aragon, so we can throw that one in here. But first, we have one from who was this? Dennis wanted Blood Rights, which is book 6 in the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. So we'll go, and thank you, a big shout to Jim Butcher for having the chapter on his website, because it was cut off on Amazon starting midway through, but now we can read it here. If you don't know, Dresden Files are urban fantasy. Think wizards and magical creatures existing in a hidden society in the modern world. It's a genre I love. It's kind of a smaller genre, but a lot of fun in my opinion. And the Dresden Files are probably the most famous of the genre. I'm not certain, but they're up there. Paul says clearly I need to add apotheosis in the opening of all my books. just a running gag, working in somewhere within the first paragraph. Jack Ann, you said I agree. I think he frequents the thesaurus-y words in his writing that hones in on the target audience. You can see that. All right, well, let's do Blood Rights by Jim Butcher. I love this sentence. See, this is my favorite kind of opening. Literally just a single short sentence. The building was on fire, and it wasn't my fault. I love that. That's such a good opener. And you got to consider, this is book 6 in a series, right? So anybody reading this has already read the 5 books up to it. Butcher is not obliged to hook them with his opening line. Once you get that deep in a series, you can do whatever you want. Your readers are there for the story. They're not going to read an opening line and go, not for me, and put it down, right? So I like that. It's good that he did that, even though this is book 6. Let's read on. The building was on fire, and it wasn't my fault. My boots squeaked and squealed on the tile floor as I sprinted around a corner and towards the exit doors to the abandoned school building on the southwest edge of Chicagoland. Distant streetlights provided the only light in the dusty hall and left huge swaths of blackness crouching in the old classroom doors. So I like the first sentence a lot better than the next paragraph, but like I said, this is book 6 in a series. Butcher does not have to hook his readers at this point. They are in for the long haul if they're reading this deep. But I really appreciate that he did this opening sentence. And as Dennis, I think Dennis threw it out there, if you know, the main character uses fireball and fireball equivalents a lot in these stories. So this just plays off that as well. It's an incredible opening. So well done, Jim Butcher, and thank you for having it on the website. Oh, it's a good opener. Paul Paul, you said something special about looking over to check on your 17-month old, and he's flipping through a book. Paul, he's on the right track, my guy. Or she, I'm not sure. Oh, wait, you said he. Okay. And he's flipping through. Paul, he is on the right track. That's awesome. What book? What book is he flipping through? That's awesome. I love that. Yes, Lloyd, no, you're spot on. In that Jim Butcher opening line, the building was on fire and it wasn't my fault. He does say it exactly as if we expect it to be his fault. And we do. We do. He's playing with expectations. It's great. This is maybe a lesser known book that I read as a child or as a young adult. Another one of my introductions to comedy fantasy. It's In the Company of Ogres by A. Lee Martinez. I originally read Gil's All Fright Diner by him, but that one has a little bit of a vulgar opening, so I'm not sure I wanted to read that on stream. So we went for the second one. Also, this one's more fantasy, so it's more up my alley. But yeah, I don't even know where I found it. I don't think this book went particularly gangbuster, but it's got a good opening, and I think it does interesting stuff. So real quick, we'll look at the opening of In the Company of Ogres by A. Lee Martinez. Let me actually hold one sec, guys. I want to pull up something else if I can in the background. I just had a thought of another underloved. Oh, is it not on Amazon? We might have to grab it. All right, hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. I do love coming back after stepping away to see more viewers here than when I left. That's hilarious. What's up, Blaze? Welcome in, my friend. Happy Thursday to you. We're doing something a little new today, Blaze. We are going through... Paul, the teacher is gone. Time to run wild. Paul, Blaze, we are going through books and reading their openings and talking about why they work, what they do well. Patrick Smith, what's up, my guy? He said, what's my favorite book ever that I've written? Ooh, okay, well, that's an easy answer. Here's my book ones, all up here. Top row's fantasy, bottom row's lit RPG. If any of them look good to you, give them a look. But my favorite ever so far is Wriggly Little Hands. It's my newest. I love it. It released a couple weeks ago, and it's a fantasy comedy about goblins on a road trip to save the Dark Lord. But they're not very good at everything, or anything, and so they accidentally do good at every turn. It's very goofy, it's very silly, and you know what? Hey, since we're here, let's do. We'll be a little bit self-indulgent, and we'll do the opening line, right? So here's my opening line, so we can look at all the ways that I just ignored all of the advice I've given you about opening lines. Goblins look like if cats, hairless cats, had thumbs and learned to walk on two legs. But while cats are allowed to commit as many crimes as they want, on account of being cute and small, the same hasn't been true of goblins ever since they discovered arson. You can see I resonated earlier with the... Hold, please. Skandar and the Unicorn Thief. I resonated with this because it had a 1-2 punch joke of an opening. And so did All Systems Red. And there's my 1-2 punch of an opening. We start by describing goblins in this world, and then we hit it with, goblins look like cats, but while cats are allowed to commit as many crimes as they want on account of being cute and small, the same hasn't been true of goblins ever since they discovered arson. I love that 1-2 punch of comedy. It's a great opener in my opinion. You see I respond to it when I read it, so of course I wrote it. And Paul, yeah, it does kind of have the long sentence of Adams. You're right. Okay, sorry. I was going to do In the Company of Ogres. What I stepped away to do, real quick, y'all, I wanted to grab this little book. It is not on Amazon. It is a novella called Appalachian Alchemy by Barlow Adams. I believe he self-pubbed this. Um, it is not it's not in print anymore. I really hope it goes back into print. I met Adams back in the day on Twitter in like 2015, back when it was only a slightly toxic place. And I read his novella from some snippets he posted. It is some of the most beautiful writing I've ever read in my life. I don't know if Adams is still writing these days, but every time I see him, I yell at him to write more because this is incredible. So we'll look at this too in a minute. But we're gonna do In the Company of Ogres first. Let's get the cover up real quick by A. Lee Martinez. Laura, you refer to all your cats as little goblins? Absolutely. The energy is very similar. Okay, so here's the opening of In the Company of Ogres by A. Lee Martinez. His name was Never Dead Ned, but it was only a nickname. He could die. He'd met his death 49 times, and 49 times he'd risen from the grave. Although, after his reputation spread, people stopped bothering to bury him. They'd just throw his corpse in a corner and wait for him to rise again. And he always did. But every death took a little bit away from him, put another ache in the joints, sapped a little more spring from his step. And Ned learned the hard way that there were worse things than dying. There was dying over and over again. I like that a lot. I think that does a lot in one paragraph. It plays with its own expectations. His name was Never Dead Ned, but it was only a nickname. He could die. That's in and of itself is a nice little comedic contradiction while telling us about the character. And then giving us a little backstory. He died 49 times, and 49 times he'd risen from the grave. Although after his reputation spread, they'd stopped burying him. That's another little joke in its own world of he'd risen from the grave 49 times. It sounds so dramatic. And then you pair it with, but he always came back to life, so eventually they stopped burying him, and they just threw him in a corner until he woke back up. It's really good, playful prose, I suppose you could say. So I dig it. I think it's a fun book. Give it a look if comedy fantasy's up your alley. All right, let's take a viewer suggested one. I know I've written down a lot here. Let's see. I'm gonna call it for suggestions for the day. We're gonna grab a few more. Let's see. If you have suggestions, y'all, save them, write them down, or just remember them, because I think I want to do this again in the future. I kind of want to go longer on this, but I got to get out of here in about 10 minutes. But I've had a lot of fun with this. I think this is really interesting. I'm learning a little bit, too, as I analyze these, and I'm having fun looking at what you suggest. So speaking of, Jake Hartman suggested Ubik by Philip K. Dick. I'm not familiar with this. I'm familiar with Philip K. Dick, but let's give it a look. Cassidy, what was your suggestion? I'm scrolling back in the chat. Yeah, I don't think I see the original comment. Paul, they're not the new type of streams aren't really affecting my my writing schedule too much because I write in the afternoons. That's when I really get most of the work done. So I'm trying to play with different formats that could keep it varied up a little bit. Okay, here we go. We got Ubik. Cassidy, that's right. You had Trial by Kafka. Sorry about that. You suggested that a long time ago. We're gonna do that one after this because you suggested that forever ago and I didn't get to it. Oh no, that's really terribly formatted for. Here we go. We can fix it. Haha. Skip the note. It'll be on chapter 1. Okay. So we'll start with. I totally blanked. Ubik. There we go, by Philip K. Dick, which I accidentally closed. Here we go. And we'll get the sample. All right, so thank you, Jake, for suggesting this one. I'm interested that you changed your original suggestion to this one. So let's see. Chapter 1. Looks like we have some text beforehand. And it says, Friends, this is the cleanup time, and we're discounting all our silent electric Ubix by this much money. Yes, we're throwing away the blue book, and remember, every Ubix on our lot has been used only as directed. So I don't know what that's telling me. Interesting. I think that's intended to float in the back of your mind. You kind of hold on to it and wonder about it. It's not telling you anything specifically, but it makes you kind of think about that as you get to reading the rest. At 3:30 a.m. on the night of June 5th, 1992, the top telepath in the Sol system fell off the map in the offices of Rossiter Associates in New York City. That started vid phones ringing. The Runsiter organization had lost track of too many holicipses during the last 2 months. This added disappearance wouldn't do. Okay, that is a chunky opening. Interesting. I'm not entirely sure what to make of that one, y'all. That's very much something you might have to read a couple times. There's a lot of words in there that I'm not familiar with off the bat. Thomas, we did do the opening to the Gunslinger. I'm so sorry you missed that. Dude, that's terrible timing. You stepped away right as we did that one. Check the VOD on YouTube, youtube.com/@authoralexknight. Pick it up there so you can check it out, because we talked a little bit about that one. We had some fun with it. This one's interesting because it's very world building dense, right? Image, get out of here. There's a lot of words in these words. You're not wrong. That is functionally what I said. There's just a lot of word building. World building. At 3:30 a.m. on the night of June 5th, 1992, the top telepath in the Sol system fell off the map in the offices of Runsiter Associates in New York City. So it's saying a lot, right? Like, it's introducing that telepaths exist in this world. Calling the place, the setting, the Sol system, would imply an intergalactic scope, right? We're looking further out. It's not just going to take place on Earth. It's a wider view. But it's set in New York City. That started vid phones ringing. So we're advanced technology. So it's 1992, but there's advanced technology, or at least technology we're not familiar with. The Runsiter organization had lost track of too many holicipses during the last 2 months. This added disappearance wouldn't do. There's a lot going on here. If you like dense books and dense openings, I think this is one for you. Very interesting. Not how I would do it, but again, Philip K. Dick sold a couple more books than I have. Very interesting on that one. All right, so let's get over. I'm going to try to knock a few out here in a quick run because we got about 7 more minutes. Here's the lineup we're going to do. We got Trial by Kafka, The Trial by Kafka. Then we're going to do The Graveyard Book, My Boss is the Devil, and Aragon, which everybody suggested. And then we will end on Appalachian Alchemy, which a friend of mine wrote. An acquaintance. I know him through the internet. I don't know if he'd call me a friend. I'm a big fan of his writing. It's out of print, and y'all, we need to bully him into writing more. So we're gonna talk about why that's incredible. So let's go with The Trial by Kafka. Obviously, quite an esteemed name. Paul, Alex's review of the book. Lots of words in this book. 5 out of 5 stars. Look, when I picked up the book, I was really worried there wouldn't be enough words, but then I opened the first page and it was covered in words, and I knew we were in a good spot. All right. Chapter 1. Arrest Conversation with Miss Grubach, then Miss Burstner. Really small, dense text on this one. I expect nothing less from Kafka. Someone must have been telling lies about Joseph K. He knew he had done nothing wrong, but one morning he was arrested. Every day at 8 in the morning he was brought his breakfast by Mrs. Grubach's cook. Mrs. Grubach was his landlady, but today she didn't come. That had never happened before. Kay waited a little while, looked from his pillow at the old woman who lived opposite and who was watching him with an inquisitiveness quite unusual for her, and finally, both hungry and disconcerted, rang the bell. There was immediately a knock at the door, and a man entered. He had never seen the man in this house before. He was slim but firmly built. His clothes were black and close-fitting, with many folds and pockets, buckles and buttons, and a belt all of which gave the impression of being very practical, but without making it very clear what they were actually for. Okay, so this one's making you ask a lot of questions, right? The fact that they've teased with this pretext arrest conversation with Mrs. Grubach, then Mrs. Bursner, it makes you... Yeah, Paul, where do you find a rental where the landlady makes breakfast each morning? I'm assuming this is something to do with like an old boarding house from like the Victorian or onward era. That seems a bit more common back then. That's my impression, at least, coming into this completely clean, completely fresh. But no, this is relying on making you ask a lot of questions. It sets up the intention of, obviously there's been an arrest, there's a conversation with the person arrested, and then it introduces immediately with like, something is not right here. This morning is not going as it usually should, and it makes you ask, why is that the case? And then, a strange man comes in. Why is that? Who is he? It doesn't even tell you what his job is necessarily right off the bat. This is just question after question to draw you in. It's a classic opening, making the reader ask questions. I dig it. I find myself wanting to read on. Nothing even that crazy happened. Like, that's the power of making the reader ask questions. Nothing even that crazy happened in this opening, but I still want to read on because I got questions in the back of my head that I want answered. So that's the power of it right there. All right. The Graveyard Book, as suggested by chat. Guys, who suggested this one? Let me know. It's been a little minute. It's been a hot minute, and I do not remember. Oh, it's a Neil Gaiman book. I'm torn on that. I'm torn on it because Gaiman, I don't really want to interact with Gaiman stuff too much based on his past trespasses. He's not been a good dude in the past. And I don't really want to give him a platform, I've never really considered this too much. Yeah, I kind of want to. I apologize. I kind of want to drop this one off because I don't want to I don't want to talk about someone who has done as many heinous things as he is accused of doing. Oh, Paul, it's bad. There's a lot. Just go ahead and I hate to say Google it as an answer, but yeah, he has dropped off the internet. I believe for good reason. We'll see. They will properly investigate it all and whatnot, but we'll just leave it there. I'll let you look it up and draw your own conclusions. Gaiman not in a good spot these days. Yeah, Jackie, and I think I'm going to drop it because of that. I don't really want to, give him too much attention right now. I'm not entirely up to date on it all. I'm kind of letting it get sorted first, officially, and just trying to draw a conclusion from that. All right, My Boss is the Devil is the next one. Who suggested this one? Let me know. Remind me. I like the cover. It's a cool cover. Y'all can't see it, but once Amazon loads properly, it'll... Nope, it won't. Well, we'll just open the image and... Oh, you know what? When I do the preview, it'll give you the cover. Oh, it's an indie author, Jackann. Nice. Hold on. Shout out. Ben Shankman. Shankman. Make sure I say that right. Rocking that 410 reviews. What is that? 4.3 on Amazon, 4.1 on Goodreads. That's really good. Paul, Good Omens is a Terry Pratchett, co-written book. That makes it a little more okay in my eyes. But I'll leave it up to you. All right. So My Boss is the Devil. Let's check out chapter 1. I love the little doodle on top. You know that, I'm fond of these based on Wrigley. Chapter 1. The aroma was intoxicating, almost enough to pull me forward into real consciousness. I sat at my kitchen table, eyes bleary, waiting for a small moment of joy before stepping forth into my hell of a workday. My best ceramic pour-over was slowly dripping a dark brew into my favorite, but sadly, chipped coffee mug. Some say that mornings are a time for meditation, contemplation, and getting up in the wee hours to have a good long look at your life. Others think that it's the time to get the blood flowing, get your steps in, and improve the temple that is your body. Me? I always believed that mornings were good for one thing and one thing only: coffee. It was one of the few things in my life that was going well, which is a really depressing thought, but it was true. All right. Yeah. I like it. It made me. You heard me. It made me laugh right off the bat with the aroma was intoxicating, almost enough to pull me forward into real consciousness. I love that I was immediately in the mind of coffee. I was immediately thinking coffee once he said that. But I was a little bit on my guard based on, kind of the comedic hooks that we've had today. I was expecting something, maybe a little bit of a hook, a little bit of a twist to it. But it's just entirely relatable, I like it. It's a good opening. Especially playing with the title "My Boss is the Devil." I like that it plays with the idea of hell throughout in the descriptions here. Sorry, next line down there. I hated my mornings almost as much as they hated me. Honestly, that's the line that I would start with were I writing this, because I just love a punchy start. But there's nothing wrong with the way it's done. It's very good how it is as well. Thank you for suggesting it. Who was that? I saw Jack Ann. Thank you, Jack Ann. No, I do. You said you suggested it because you think I would like the author's prose. I do. I could really. I want to read more simply from the prose I've gone through. I dig it. Nice. Thank you, Jack Ann, for suggesting that. All right, we got two more today. We're going with a classic now, y'all. Oh, and by the way, Jake Hartman, you said, I guess that's one nice thing about liking dead authors. They aren't going to suddenly come out with allegations. Yeah, that's true. Very true. Paul, all Pratchett books have a 2-month wait at my library, except for Good Omens. Now I know why. Oh, Paul, wow, that's interesting. That might be why, yeah. Sorry about the wait on the Pratchett books. They are very in demand. For good reason. Rafi, welcome in. You're stopping in to say hi. Hey, you slept in. I'm glad to hear that. I hope you're a little less tired today. I hope you feel a bit better, Rafi. We're trying a new format today. We are looking at books and reading their opening lines and talking about why they're good, what we like about them, what they do effectively. We're just wrapping up here. We got 2 left. We're going to do Aragon next, as people chat suggested. And look, I'm a big Aragon fan. I read it as a kid. It was really special back then. I'm due for a reread. I know that it's a bit derivative, but I don't know, man. Sometimes all it needs for art to be good is for you to enjoy it. And I enjoyed it back in the day. I spent a lot of time looking at this map, and I like it. So let's see. It's been a long time since I've read any of it. So I know it starts with a prologue, right? If my memory is correct. Yeah. Shade of Fear. Dramatic. I think we'll do what we did with the other prologue, though. We will look at the prologue and and chapter 1. Paul, you said it's cool. I spent my book budget on this indie author I found on TikTok. I appreciate you, dude. I feel slightly regretful for having made you blow your book budget, but I'm also very happy you did it on my books. Thank you. All right, let's look at Aragon. And then we're going to get to Appalachian Alchemy, which I had to go get the physical book because it's not on Amazon. We'll talk about that one. Prologue, Shade of Fear. Wind howled through the night, carrying a scent that would change the world. Right there, I already like it. I was in my head, I was getting down on it with the opening of Wind howled through the night. It feels like a typical, it was a dark and stormy night. But the second half of the sentence really saves it for me. Carrying a scent that would change the world. How's a scent going to change the world, right? Immediately it makes you ask a question. A tall shade with a capital S, signifying that it is a thing, not the word you would expect. A tall shade lifted his head and sniffed the air. He looked human except for his crimson hair and maroon eyes. He blinked in surprise. The message had been correct. They were here. Or was it a trap? He weighed the odds and said icily, "Spread out. Hide behind trees and bushes. Stop whoever is coming. Or die." Okay, so Paul, you're heading out. thanks for being here, buddy. Appreciate you staying with me. Have a good breakfast, and I'll catch you tomorrow for Fantasy Map Friday. It'll be a good fun day for us. I've loved this though. It's been a really fun one. With the prologue, I like the opening sentence. I do love Durza as a character, Jack Ann. I am fond of him. He's very interesting to me. I really like the back half of the first sentence. Everything after that doesn't do too much for me. It's basically an action opening. It's dropping you into action. So you got a lot of questions. You don't know what's going on, but I don't think the action is strong enough there. And it's kind of mixed in that it's starting with a character and action. But again, this book sold an unfathomable more amount of copies than any of mine, all of mine combined. So I'm not really in a position to critique. I'm just giving you my thoughts on it. Let's pop down to chapter 1. I know it's a big, decent prologue there, but let's do chapter 1. See what we think. Aragon knelt in a bed of trampled reed grass and scanned the tracks with a practiced eye. The prince told him that the deer had been in the meadow only a half hour before. Soon they would bed down. His target, a small doe with a pronounced limp in her left forefoot, was still with the herd. He was amazed she had made it so far without a wolf or bear catching her. The sky was clear and dark, and a slight breeze stirred the air. A silvery cloud drifted over the mountains that surrounded him, its edges glowing with ruddy light cast from the harvest moon cradled between the two peaks. Streams flowed down the mountains from stolid glaciers and glistening snowpacks. A brooding mist crept along the valley's floor, almost thick enough to obscure his feet. So, again, I think this is where a lot of the criticism of Aragon comes from. It just is so center of the genre fantasy. It almost feels satirical of just, it is so fantasy. I say this as someone who really enjoyed the book, and I'm really due for a reread on it. I had great times in this world. I can't wait to get back to it. But nothing in this opening chapter really works for me, and I don't want to be critical here. Again, it has sold so many more copies than any of my books, so what do I know? I think you raised an interesting question, though, Jack Ann. If Aragon was queried in today's market, would it be picked up? I don't think so. I think this was a product of three things. Epic fantasy was in a good place. Paolini was a young author who wrote really well for his age, and his parents owned a publisher or a printing press, I'm not sure which. 3, he worked his butt off going around the country pitching this book and selling it. And I don't want to discount that third one because I really respect how much work Paolini put into it. Because this dude was everywhere when this book came out, putting in the effort to make it work. And I really respect that. But as far as this opening chapter, just like nothing here catches me, right? If I hadn't, the first sentence in that prologue is the best thing in the opening here. But just Aragon knelt in a bed of trampled reed grass and scanned the tracks with a practiced eye. The prince told him that the deer had been in the meadow only a half hour before. Like, obviously this is a product of its time, but a fantasy book starting with a hunter in the woods hunting a deer is just like, it's more okay for like Raymond E. Feist to do in the 90s than it is today. It's just, it's too center of the genre. Yeah, I agree with you, Empage. You would argue that because there has been so much since that this seems meh. Exactly. Jack Ann, you asked an interesting question. Where do I think this should have started? Let's see. So I got one answer, but there's going to be a second one. I really like the line, "The deer had led him deep into the spine, a range of untamed mountains that extended up and down the land of Allegasia." That is objectively not an opening line you should start with. For me specifically, I love settings. You typically shouldn't open. Books don't sell on setting for the most part. That's kind of the marketable advice. I just personally love settings. That opening line would get my interest. If I was thinking an actual marketable opening line, let's see. I think, yeah, I agree, Jack Ann. Right around when the egg appears. Honestly, I think this is a fine opening line. Just hitting us with right out the gate. Aragon found the stone both beautiful and frightening. I think that's a short sentence. It's punchy. It makes us ask questions. What is the stone? Why does he find a stone frightening? I can understand why it's beautiful. Why is it frightening? And then just following up immediately with, where did it come from? Does it have a purpose? Like, that's a stronger opening than everything before it, in my opinion. So yeah, that's a good one. Thank you for suggesting that, y'all. I don't want to be critical, and I don't want to tear people down, especially because, like, when it comes to author cred, Paolini has a lot more than I do. But those are my opinions on it. And you got to remember, books are a product of their time as well. Also, shout out to Paolini. He drew the art for the covers, if you didn't know that. Or painted, I'm not sure, but made it himself. Dude is a man of many skills. Rock on, Paolini. All right, y'all. One last one, and then we're going to run for the day. Oh, boy, I am running late today. We got one more book I want to do. Also, by the way, I said it earlier in the stream, but I'll just say it again for those joined late. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Shout out to June 19th, Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. As well, a little bit of a programming update real quick. I am looking at next week. We're going to try doing the stream just on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Just for a fact of I want to change it up in the schedule. It's been a lot to get up at 6 a.m. every workday, and then work a full workday on the back half of it. So we're going to try shifting to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday structure. I'll post it in Discord too. So yeah, we're going to see how it works out. Impage though Dragon looks quite horse structured. Yeah, I agree, but it's kind of cool. I kind of like it. So yeah, guys, just a quick word of programming. Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week is when we're going to be streaming. It'll still be Fantasy Map Friday, but Monday and Wednesday, who knows? Happy to take suggestions. And I really want to do this format again. We'll talk about that more, though, as we go. All right, so last book. Let's pull Hitchhikers off. Go back to here. Last one. This is Appalachian Alchemy by Barlow Adams. It is not online. It's out of print. It is a novella. I think it is... This is a book that sold me on its prose alone, and I really want to feature it with a quick, look at its opening lines, because I think it's really good. And thank you, Jack Ann. I'm glad you've liked the stream. I've had a lot of fun doing it with y'all. I dig it. I think we're definitely going to do it again. All right, so let's look at the opening lines of Appalachian Alchemy. This is not a happy book. It is a beautiful book, though. And it's written in the slang of Lady Strange. I'm glad I could pronounce it correctly for you. I spent many years pronouncing it the wrong way before learning the history of the name, and now I do my absolute darndest to always say it correctly. Folks, a quick overview. Appalachian versus Appalachian. Appalachian is not the correct way to pronounce it. It was, to my understanding, imposed by tourists who wanted to make the area sound more desirable, and so they came up with Appalachian. Appalachian is the way the locals say it. And I use the name the locals use, right? So that's why you say it that way. Anyway, you'll throw an apple at you. That's really good, Lady Strange. I'll throw an apple at you if you don't say it right for Appalachia. Very good. Welcome in, Lady Strange. Happy Thursday to you. We're just finishing up on this stream today. Jack, no, welcome in as well. What we've been doing is we've been going through books and reading their opening lines. And talking about why they're good, why they're interesting, what they do well. I think we've gone through like 12 of them so far, but we are on the last one now, and this is by Barlow Adams. It is called Appalachian Alchemy. It's a novella. You can't find it online. It's out of print at present, but Barlow Adams is an incredible writer, and every time I see him, I yell at him to write more stuff because it's amazing. Anyway, here are the opening lines of Appalachian Alchemy. The only thing my daddy ever gave me was a bullet, and even that was secondhand and rightly meant for someone else. Silas Long pressed it into my 9-year-old palm the day he killed Daddy, plucked it out of my father's unfired .357, and curled my hand over the metal like he was giving me a shiny new quarter. His breath smelled like single-pot whiskey when he leaned in close and said to me, "Book." People was always calling me that. You ain't old enough or learnt enough yet in the ways of the county, but this bullet belongs to you. I done kilt your daddy clean. Our dispute is resolved, way I see it. Now if'n you get on a bit in age, and feel like I wronged you or your daddy, you come on down the hill, past the white birch, and you give me this here bullet any way you think is right. If we ain't cross, you hand it on over slow, just like this, and I'll know we good. If we still got churn between us, you can try to give it to me quick, like I did your daddy. Either way, I don't reckon I'll ever set eyes on you again, set behind a crosshair, till we get this all sorted. You reckon? Impage, you ain't learned enough in the ways of the county, is what it was. I stumbled because I expected it to be country, but it was county. Y'all, I love everything about this opening. It is instantly into dialogue, and it's so humanizing of like... I'm just going to read it one more time, because I really like this. The only thing my daddy ever gave me was a bullet, and even that was secondhand and rightly meant for someone else. Silas Long pressed it into my 9-year-old palm the day he killed Daddy, plucked it out of my father's unfired .357 and curled my hand over the metal like he was giving me a shiny new quarter. His breath smelled like single pot whiskey when he leaned in close and said to me, "Book?" People was always calling me that. "You ain't old enough or learnt enough yet in the ways of the county, but this bullet belongs to you. I done kilt your daddy clean. Our dispute is resolved, way I see it. Now if'n you get on a bit in age, and feel like I wronged you or your daddy, you come on down over the hill, past the white birch, and you give me this here bullet any way you think is right. If we ain't cross, you hand it on over slow, just like this, and I'll know we good. If we still got churn between us, you can try to give it to me quick, like I did your daddy. Either way, I don't reckon I'll ever set eyes on you again, set behind a crosshair, till we get this all sorted. You reckon?" Y'all, that is so good. I love that it opens with all that dialogue, but it builds the whole world, like, instantly, right? Starts with a 9-year-old having his dad killed, and then the guy that killed him takes a bullet out of his gun, gives it to the kid, and says, if we still have beef between us, when you're older, you can try to give this bullet back to me. You can try to shoot me with it. If we're good, you can just give it to me nice and slow, and I know we don't have any trouble. But, like, that guy's going to be watching his back knowing that the kid is got beef with him until they resolve it. It's such a weird, mature, honorable, and yet dark way to handle it. And the whole book continues like that. It's so good. It's so organic from Appalachia, from where it's from. It takes place in Kentucky, in a very depressed county. Yeah, Jake, it's got Jake Hartman on YouTube. It's got very Western vibes to it. It is a beautiful novella. Let's see if we can get a copy of it. I believe that it is out of print at present. But y'all, that's why I keep yelling at Barlow to write more. Oh, hold on. Nah, out of print, it says. I saw it. I got excited for a minute. Maybe it's somewhere else, though. I feel like some used bookstores might have it. They don't have any here. Google Books, you got anything? Get print book? No ebook available. Nope. Y'all, I think it's like fully out of print. Yeah, Jake Hartman said encourage him to get it onto digital. I might reach out to him again. It's been a little while since I talked with him, but I might reach out to him again. Because it's a beautiful book. I think this guy is one of the most talented writers I've ever met. And I'm sad that he's not writing more. But, it's his own decision, right? I'm just desperately trying to find it somewhere. Y'all, I'll set you internet sleuths on it. You guys found some of my really old books that are out of print, so I'm impressed. But here, it's right here. Let's pull it up again on Amazon. If anybody wants to see if they can find a copy of this and let us know where someone's selling it, Appalachian Alchemy by Barlow Adams. It's a really good book. I kind of want to read it again now, just from reading those couple lines. But folks, hey, thanks for being with me today. This was an awesome format. I had an absolute blast doing this with y'all. I hope you had a good time as well. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for suggesting books. Thanks for giving me your thoughts. Think about other books that you might want us to look at in future, because we'll definitely bring this back again in the future. Not sure when exactly, but I really had a lot of fun, and I'm exploring a couple other ideas along this route. So we'll see. We'll see what those manifest as. But anyway, thank you for being here with me today, folks. As a last plug, if you don't know, I'm author Alex Knight. These are my book ones. The book that I'm most excited about right now is Wriggly Little Hands. Released it a couple weeks back. It's a fantasy comedy about goblins on a road trip. It's a ton of fun. I mean, I wrote it. I'm biased, but it's like a D&D campaign where no one put points into intelligence, and the DM's taking a shot after every chapter. You can get it on Amazon, Audible, paperback, ebook, audiobook, whatever format you like. All I ask is give it a look. But or you can see all my books at authoralexknight.com. But thank you for stopping by, folks. I had an absolute blast with you today. I will be back tomorrow for Fantasy Map Friday. Let's grab the graphic for it. We'll be making some fantasy maps tomorrow. Going to be a good day. Always fun. We'll be here at 7 a.m. Central Time, and I hope to see you there. Thank you for hanging out with me, folks. As always, a pleasure to meet you all. Boop and Lady Strange, I'm sorry that y'all missed it, but if you go to youtube.com/@authoralexknight, the full replay will be there, so you can watch everything we just streamed. youtube.com/@authoralexknight. But thank you for being here. It was a pleasure to meet you both. A big shout out on the way out to everybody still hanging around. So we got Sloyd, Impage Studios, Cassidy Cook, Slindy, Spirit Wanders, Karmatic, some of my OG stream viewers there have been hanging out for a long time. Shout out to the new ones, Lady Strange and Boop, and Dubs on Smash and Naked Truth. Thank you for hanging out with me on TikTok and on YouTube. Big shout out to Jake Hartman, been here a long time, basically an OG at this point. Isabel Knight hanging out, chatting, always bringing good energy. Love seeing you here. And Woofy Chan, new person we met on YouTube today. Y'all, thanks for being here. If you enjoyed the stream, give me a follow so I can catch you on the next one. That'll be 7 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. And as always, we got to give a special thank you to Kevin McLeod of Incompetech.com for the use of his songs Farm, Manor, Cottages, and Northern Glade, which provided our background music today. Thank you, Kevin. As well, an extra special thank you to community member Raffi the Engineer, who provided our newest background song, Midnight at the Round Table. Y'all, Raffi made that just for stream. In fact, it's what's playing now. I love when that happens. Oh, it just ended. Hold on, we're gonna play out on Raffi's song. There we go. Raffi made this just for stream. Thank you, Raffi. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Folks, happy Juneteenth to you again. I hope you have a lovely Thursday. I will catch you tomorrow for Fantasy Map Friday. Thanks for being here, and have a good one, folks. Rock on.